Well, welcome to Queenstown for the 2024-34 Otago Regional Council long-term plan submissions and hearings. And of course, this is a consultation on our draft long-term plan. So be rest assured we are here to listen, to learn, and to take notice of what's being said to us. And we thank you very much for those who have submitted and for those who have come along today and of course tomorrow. We have online our CE, Mr. Richard Saunders, a group of councillors. We have an apology from Councillor Forbes, who is unwell today, and it's an apology. And the session will be recorded and released as soon as we finish the session. And we've now started. So we'll know.
Mic on.
Yeah, a bit of a lag effect.
We're getting a terrible.
Is someone not muted?
If someone is somewhere that is not muted, could they please mute? Because we're getting feedback.
I'm so really long way delayed.
Sounds good? Yep. Excellent. So look, our long-term plan will continue to focus on our focus areas with special emphasis on supporting community group advances in their environmental projects, improving our public transport networks, and trying to create a more workable and transparent rating system. And we'll also, as I said earlier, concentrate on our main environmental focuses, our climate change and our regional leadership. So each submitter has the opportunity to talk to us for 10 minutes, and hopefully that will include question time. We're still getting that very good feedback.
I wonder if we can just turn the volume completely down or something.
Can we ask Richard what it's like? Is Richard online?
I'll be very out.
Yeah, Richard, if you're online and if you could answer, how is it coming through in Dunedin to you? An answer from me?
Turn the volume right down so we can hear them.
Oh. Give us a thumbs up. Or Elliot, can you hear this okay? Got no response from Elliot.
Not hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear anything now?
Morse code.
Yeah,
That's really delayed. That's
Yeah.
2 minutes delayed.
Okay, sound fine online, but can't hear the feedback, so I think we can only hear it on the stage.
Okay.
Not
So worried.
turn the volume
So
right down.
unable to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the question is, if it's going to have that long a lag, it's not going to work for Zoom.
It is fine, Zoom is recording, yeah.
So will we go straight to Zoom to our first submitter, being Harriet Jock for Otago Federated Farmers? Harriet's online.
No, we need to go to the person because she's not coming yet.
She's not coming yet.
No.
So we could start with Paul Cabana from Southern Lakes Sanctuary Trust, who is sitting in the room and is all eager to come forward and talk. Thanks, Paul. On page 83 of your book. Or if you can just take these submissions as being read, and feel free to start, and some councillors may have some questions once you've finished your presentation. Thank you.
So good morning. So I'll call Paul Cabana local now. So my name is Paul and I'm making a submission today on behalf of the Southern Lake Sanctuary Trust.
Sorry.
Will I keep going? So firstly, thank you all for this opportunity to speak today and for reading our submission and for all the support you've provided us since our inception in late 2021. We feel we've achieved a lot since then. And since our inception, we've facilitated a 175% increase in traps across our project area. So across our partner groups, we think there's about 11,000 traps now, protecting about 175,000 hectares across the Queenstown Lakes District. So with support from the Eco Fund in 2022 as well, we installed about 1,000 bait stations in Makarora and also Matukituki. And that helped prevent the local extinction of moa. So really important work because of the beach mast year this year. And that was through our fund from the Eco Fund. So thank you for that. We also supported Doc and Manawhenua with the return of Takahe to the Greenstone Valley onto Kaitahu ancestral land, which was a huge moment for all of us, I think. And we're also planning other translocations such as Takahe for the East Valley in 2025 and Wohua into Matukituki Valley. So we've also established really great working relationships, not just with our core partner groups, but also with RC staff, with DOT, QLEC, Manatahuna, Papua Pane, Waiwanaka, and Predator-Free Dunedin as well. So we feel we've achieved a lot, but we need to do more, much more. We all do. Some of Scott Jarvie's work for RC recently around our native reptiles across the Otago region. Of the resident native reptiles, 31 out of 32 species or taxa are considered regionally threatened or regionally at risk. In our project area, we've at least 35 species that are genuinely facing at risk of extinction unless we need act urgently to protect these species. So our submission focused on proposal 1 around investing in the environment, as this is the biggest impact on our core mahi of biodiversity protection. So ORC's proposal to boost funding large landscape scale projects, we believe is timely, it's really positive, it's much appreciated and it's much needed. So of the options presented, we support an uplift of $2 million, but we strongly advocate for a minimum of 10 million because we need to do more. We cannot go backward. We have no time to waste in this. 10 million and even 2 million, it sounds like a lot of money, but the cost of doing nothing is much higher. The cost of saving species is kind of, you can't put a value on that. But nature is also economically important to us as a region and as a nation. So groups like us, we're not expecting ORC to be our sole funder. We're not expecting to even be the primary funder, just to be part of the overall funding picture. And across our partner groups, there's about 1,000 volunteers just in the Queenstown Lakes District, in addition to those from our friends at Waiwanaka and Manatahu and our Reforestation Trust, Predator-Free Dunedin. So the support from the community is incredible. They're really supportive of environmental work. They really recognise its importance. So hopefully this has been reflected in the submissions and in your decision as well. So we really commend ORC for the proposal to really show genuine leadership in this space, especially in the current difficult economic crisis, environment. Conservation is a collective responsibility and it's also for the collective good. So we strongly support a targeted rate system for implementing this proposal. We also acknowledge ORC in working closely with Kaitahu and individual Runaka. Because the support of Te Rupu, Kaitiaki, Ki, Araita Uru and Murihiku was instrumental in us securing our funding and in our formation. So we really appreciate the strengthening ties that ORC has gone through with Manawhenua. We applaud and really strongly support the development of new biodiversity strategy and also the Indigenous Biodiversity Monitoring Programme. And then with the high biodiversity site management plans, we'd welcome the chance to collaborate on this and for review and expanding the site-led test programme. So we note the success of the Wilding Pines work over many years, and we really believe it should remain as an individual line item with separate funding from the overall biosecurity bill. And we formally recognise the openness of ORC to work with the Whakatipu Conservation Alliance, the steering group, who you'll hear from later. Southern Lake Sanctuary are a big supporter of that because collaboration is really important, as you agree, in environmentalism. So their work in exploring the options for funding landscape in our work it's much appreciated, ORC being open and willing to discuss those options. So we thank you as well for considering our recent Eco Fund application. And we really look forward to working closely with RC, further developing our partnership into the future. So in summary, we thank you for your positive proposal, your positive outlook, and for recognising the importance of the gains we've all made in the last couple of years in conservation and environmentalism, but also the importance of the environment in our collective futures, as well the urgency of the need to protect it. So by 2034, we're hopefully here discussing having flourishing biodiversity across our regions. Kia ora, thank you, and thanks for your ongoing support of Southern Lake Sanctuary.
Councillors, any questions? Okay.
Look, thank you for your good work. It's fantastic, and you've been very, very successful. I just wonder, and thank you for appreciating we can't give you everything for your sole or even your main funder. Can I just understand where things are at with the government and also the land that you're working on? How much of it's private and public land?
Yeah, so both are quite a mosaic. One thing we've been really strong with, because we knew central government is unlikely to have further support, we've been trying to be really creative in our funding outlook. So we've started working a lot with high country stations, for example, and doing service agreements almost that we're going on and doing biodiversity work, so trapping and monitoring on those lands. And we've also been looking hard through in the tourism industry. So AJ Hackett Bungee have been incredibly supportive. We rent office space. Our staff are all employed through a subsidiary company of AJ Hackett Bungee, and they've also committed 100K a year for 3 years. So we are leaving no stone unturned in our look for our quest for future funding. And we have secured enough that Southern Lake Sanctuary will continue with slightly less staff than previously. But again, we need to be thinking long term. A lot of our grants are 1-year grants. Some of them don't fund operational funding, or they only fund traps, not people to fund traps. And if we want to be realistic about saving Pākehā for future generations, we need to use staff for that. We need to fund that.
No, that's good. Where I was going is really understanding our role potentially as a advocate with you for government, central government. And so understanding how much of it is dock land that you're doing, but you talking about those agreements with the High Country also raises the issue of catchment wide landscape work, which is also something we're looking at and understanding how well they're investing and understanding it is a priority in this area. Yeah, we are close followers of RC's work in the catchment community, and I guess the big thing with some of the High Country stations as well, a lot of the time they're trying to include biodiversity work as part of their core mahi. And for us, the dollar value isn't huge. We are a non-for-profit, but it's being able to jigsaw enough of those stations together to really have widespread conservation outcomes is the key in that space. And what we need though is cornerstone funders. We've got a lot of smaller funders. We need a couple of decent sized chunks that do provide operational funding. So we can really, like most of my time currently is spent fundraising, and I hope that changes at some stage, but at the same time, so many grants are 1 year, that space is really difficult. So we need security for a couple of years is where we're going.
Andrew, and then Bridget, you have a question? Yeah, Andrew.
Thanks for your submission. Paul, you may have partly answered my question, but on your third page, second paragraph, last sentence, you talk about the willingness to work in collaboration about having a good mechanism. And I just wanted you to flesh that out a little bit. Maybe it's to do with that funding certainty over a longer period of time, but you know what you're hinting at. Yeah, I guess going forward, we want to look at things like biodiversity credits, carbon credits, all of those things that we're here to help with. We're all in this together. I think we all recognise we need to do a lot more. So it could be like regional tourism things as well, but lobbying the government, as he said, because unfortunately DOC's budget does look to be lessening. So at that same time, the need is growing. So I think if you guys could be an advocate for us as well going forward about, there's a lot of amazing work happening in our region, Credit Free Dunedin, groups like us, Waiwanaka, we don't want to be competing. We're all working together. We've got complementary work. So by having more advocates to be really proud of what's happening in our region, I think goes a long way as well. Sorry, sir.
That actually answers the question. Thank you. Excellent question.
Two questions. The first one is around the targeted rate system, but just trying to understand exactly what you're saying there. So you prefer the district model where if money was generated in the district, it stays within the district. Is that what you're saying? Or you prefer the wider approach?
We are quite on the fence because again, we see similar issues in Dunedin as with us. I think region wide would probably be our preference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And the other one then is around in your instance, exactly what would be helpful from the ORC. You've said that it would be what I've gained from what you've talked about now, probably facilitation and core work rather than if we were to do a large environmental projects targeted fund, it would be for the core facilitation as opposed to the traps and operational potentially.
Yeah.
And what that looks, what sort of quantum.
Yeah.
We're not, you probably got some funding, but what does it actually look like?
So the big concern I have in the granting space, and say with the Eco Fund this year with the large scale grants, where it doesn't fund maintenance projects, we just keep expanding, keep doing more, and that raises the overall cost going forward.
Yeah.
So definitely support of operational cost is paramount, because for every staff member we can get funded, we can mobilize an army of people. There's 1,050 volunteers across our region who are getting out there doing incredible mahi in the forest, but it's not an inexhaustible resources. We need to support those guys or we will lose that volunteer mahi. And we need the back of office support to do that. We've got approximately 20 staff at some stage, and we do run quite a tight ship, but we are supporting 1,000 volunteers in 100 community groups, so we cannot do that without paid staff. So definitely operational.
What's the
Excellent, Paul. I
quantum?
just,
Sorry,
yeah.
just roughly.
And we've previously indicated approximately 500,000. Again, we're here today on behalf of the needs of the conservation community, not saying Southern Lake Sanctuary needs X, Y, and Z. Our operational costs last year on average was 1.6 million, and we've set a budget this year of 1.4. We know that any decision in the LTP will take quite a while for any money to potentially trickle down, but we're here to say that conservation needs that targeted rate. So we're here on behalf of that collective as well.
thank you, Paul. Thanks very much.
Kia ora, thank you.
For your time.
Thanks for your support.
Yes.
Yes, now, with slight technical issue, we need to break and change our